just a dramatic example of me trying to showcase something that can sometimes be a bit difficult or cumbersome to clean if you don't know the right method to do it. Because clearly, none of these sponges or brushes were working. So don't fret, this video is all about showcasing 10 examples of how to clean certain kitchen items, starting with this bottle. Now for the first example, when I first heard this trick of how to clean a bottle like this, I thought it was a little bit weird and that it was no way going to work and it was just going to be a waste of time. But it's the best method I found to clean items like this. And what you will simply need is just some rice. Now, I would of course recommend use the cheapest rice you have. Don't go using your fancy black rice for this cleaning technique. And you simply pour in a bit of rice into the bottle. Then you can add in a few squirts of your dishwashing liquid. And then some water, around 1/4 or something like that. Close up the bottle and then shake it vigorously. Basically, as you shake it, the rice and soap help to break down whatever's left on the inside of the bottle. Then you can pour some of the soap out, refill it again, give it a shake again, and repeat the process until you get everything out. So just wetting it a little bit, adding some soap, and then cleaning the bottle. Another nice thing about a silicone sponge like this is that it has these spikes, so it's much easier to get under the grooves of the bottle. And then once all that is done, then you can go ahead and rinse out all the soap. And then last thing, of course, you want to leave it to dry. And so the last thing I wanted to add is that this cleaning technique is more so for if you have a bottle like this, where you've poured something into it and now you're having trouble cleaning it out because of the small opening of the bottle. Such as after you've poured in some orange juice, a smoothie, even cola or something like that. Then after moments like that, I'll use this cleaning technique. But when it comes to simply just I poured in a bit of water in there and I want to clean the bottle, then I won't bother with the whole rice thing, and instead I'll just pour in a few squirts of the dishwashing soap, give it a good shake, and use a silicone sponge to clean the top, rinse it all out, and then leave it to dry. First example done. Alright, moving on to the next example that I've left out for this video. And this is for when you have those stains on plastic containers, and in this case on the silicone lid for a tiny container. What you'll need for this is a plate or a bowl to let it rest on there, a clean bowl to help mix it, and some baking soda. So since this is quite a small surface area, I think I'll start with 1 teaspoon, maybe 2. And then you want to add in a tiny bit of water to make it into a paste. And then all there's left to do is simply pour it onto that stained area. There's just one last step I almost forgot to mention. After putting on that baking soda paste, you want to spray some vinegar over it. And now you can leave it to rest for around 30 minutes to an hour, so I'll be back by then. Okay, it's been about an hour, so now I want to check on this thing and see how far the stain has gotten off. Alright, it didn't go off perfectly, so I'm gonna give that another go. So let's try that again. This time I'm adding on a real thick paste of baking soda. and then a few squirts of baking soda again. Okay, I'll leave this overnight, and I'm hoping that when I come back to it tomorrow morning that this cleaning hack will have worked. Well, hello again, it's the next day, and shall we check if this thing has finally worked, which I'm really hoping it has. Okay, it's still there a little bit, but the stain has come off significantly, so there is a bit of an improvement, but it's not quite done yet. Okay, it seems like the stain is almost out, and I don't want to give up on it just yet, so I'm going to give it one more attempt, but this time I think I'm going to try to use as little water as possible, and I'll reverse it from using vinegar first and then some baking soda. So I'm spraying some vinegar on the stain, and then adding on some baking soda again, and mixing it up on there. Okay, I'll check in a couple of hours or the next day again. Well, it's the following day again. Shall we see if the third time is the charm in this case indeed? And so, luckily, that has done the trick. You just have to use quite a decent amount of vinegar and quite a decent amount of baking soda. And, I made a mistake before of diluting it, of adding too much water to it, so that diluted the mixture. So you want it to be a bit heavier on the baking soda and vinegar, and try to minimize the amount of water you use to mix it all up together. Okay, I'm happy that that finally worked. I was wondering a bit if I should leave all those clips in it because I was aiming for this to be more of a how-to video, but I wanted to also showcase that sometimes things don't exactly work the first time you try them around. Sometimes you'll find that you'll have to try things a few times. Maybe you had to change something about the recipe or the way you did it. So in this case, each time I did it again, I tried something different, and at the end I decided to use more baking soda, more vinegar, and less water, and that finally seemed to do the trick. So the other day my boyfriend had made some delicious chili, green onion, garlic, chili oil, and originally we had placed some of it in this Tupperware before transferring it into a glass jar. And sometimes you might find that the smell from strong scented items like chili oil or garlic oil lingers in the plastic even after cleaning it. So what you can do to help get rid of that scent, or to help further clean it and thus to get rid of that scent, is to basically you just add some water, a few tablespoons of baking soda, and then you fill it to the top, and then maybe 1 to 2 teaspoons of dish soap. And then you leave it overnight, then you rinse it and clean it as normal. So now I'll rinse these out, wash them again, and then hopefully that scent is gone. And just a side note tip with that is that, again, if you want to store something really strong scent, especially if that's something that will stay in there for quite a while, like usually you don't finish a bottle of oil in a day, is to put those in glass jars, then in plastic containers. And I sometimes like reusing glass jars like this because if that scent really does linger, well then you can just recycle this one. And the next time you have a new glass jar from the supermarket, just clean it, clean up the label, and then you have a new glass jar to use. Wait, that doesn't smell like that chili oil at all anymore. Alright, so this is a bit of a random kitchen cleaning tip, but I just wanted to showcase a few methods in case you were also trying to get rid of the sticker residue off of your glass jars, in case you wanted to repurpose this for some other case. Well, so there are several different methods that you can do, and the one that I'm going to do today is run some hot water into a bucket. You can also leave it in the sink and just push the drain down so that the water doesn't go down, but basically you just fill in the bucket with some hot water and then a generous amount of dish soap, and then you leave it in there for a few hours, maybe even overnight, and the next day it should be a lot easier just to scrub it all off. So that's what I will do in a minute. But I also just wanted to quickly share some other scenarios in case you didn't have time for this or you didn't want to go that route. And with these two methods, I would also recommend ventilating the room a little bit by keeping a window or door open, or even better, doing it outside. So with the clean cotton pad, you can add a bit of nail polish remover, which is a bit more mild, or some sticker residue, and this is much more powerful, which if you have those very stubborn stains, then it can definitely help to get rid of it. So if you use the sticker residue, then you want to leave it on a cotton pad, and then the best technique is also to let it sit on that area for just a few seconds, let it soak in, and then you can start rubbing it and going in circular motions, and that will help to loosen it. But now that that's all been said, I'm gonna run some hot water here. Okay, don't need the sink area in this moment, so I'm just gonna let it sit for half an hour to an hour, let it cool down a little bit, and then I can move it to the side. But so for now, I'm just gonna let this sit for a little while. Alright, so it's the next day, and hopefully this has been sitting in that soapy water for long enough for the sticker residue to come off easily. What I'll do afterwards is just run my fingers over it to see if I can feel any more leftover sticker residue or any more of that label. And it looks like it has all come up now, so super nice that worked in one go. And in order for this to work effectively, do put in a generous amount of dish soap and quite hot water. That's done as well. Well, now that I'm in the kitchen anyways, I may as well showcase and work on the next kitchen cleaning method that I wanted to complete, and that involves this tray. There's lots of sticky, greasy marks on there. There's some burnt marks on there as well. If you just lay your finger on like that, it just has this very sticky feeling to it. So I've tried before. I'm just using a regular sponge, quite a decent amount of dish soap, and just it doesn't seem to be doing the trick. So what you'll need instead is this cleaning stuff called the pink stuff, and I'm gonna wet the tray slightly. Then you want to take a few spoonfuls of the pink stuff. And then take any sponge that you have. I'm going to use the silicone sponge for this. And you don't want it too wet, so I'm gonna get rid of some of that water. And you basically just want to spread it on the tray. I prefer to use silicone sponges over normal sponges for situations like this because the silicone sponge isn't as absorbent as one of these sponges. You can see it just picks up everything. And then we're gonna move this to the side and let it sit for 10 minutes. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes for the tray, so I can try to clean that off. Now you want to grab a sponge that still has a good rough side on it, so preferably a new one would be better. Okay, this is pleasantly working a lot better than when I just use the sponge and regular dish soap. Alright, that is looking significantly better. I do have to do a bit of scrubbing, but I can tell you compared to other methods that I've tried, this has by far been the easiest. Moving on to the next item that can sometimes be rather difficult to clean, and that involves those stubborn stains that you get on the bottom of pans and sometimes on the side as well. All you need to do again is grab some pink stuff. I'm going to use the silicone sponge again and just rub it on the bottom. I'm going to try to get it on the side as well. then try rinsing it off. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes, so let's check on the pan. Okay, it does seem to be scrubbing off a lot easier than it was before. Okay, I just grabbed another sponge, something with a bit more of a rougher surface to work with. Okay, that's working a lot better. Yes. Okay, so do make sure that you use a good, tough sponge. Now that's finally coming off. This does feel like a bit of an arm workout. I'm glad that has worked. Now, it is a cream-colored pan, so I'm not expecting it to become spotless, but the fact that I got those burn marks off is great. So now I'm just gonna give it a clean with some regular dish soap and then leave it to dry. And voila! I left a little bit there. I could have gotten it off a bit better, maybe with a second layer if I had scrubbed a bit harder. But I think with a toothbrush, if you really dig in there, then you should be able to get it off in those nooks and crannies. But for the rest, it's looking quite good.